All right, let's talk about training, or a systematic approach or methodology to your training, specifically when it comes to firearms and going to the range. I'll start with, if you're just a firearm enthusiast and you like shooting and your idea of proficiency with a gun is going to a range and having a good time, by all means, absolutely do that. And I would recommend going with the most economic and efficient options. Pick the cheapest ammo, go to a range that is safe, and a range that has high standards when it comes to quality, and have as much fun as you possibly can. If you want to take firearms from a range environment and start carrying them outside of a controlled and strict range environment, there are some things that you should take into account when it comes to your training. The first thing you need to do is identify your end state, whether that be training for home defense, training for concealed carry, or additional training if you're in a law enforcement or first responder role or responsibility. Once you can identify that, you need to lay out the steps that are going to take you from basic proficiency, competency, and currency and get you towards where you need to be when it comes to those standards. One of the first things I recommend to people is they need to start shooting in environments that have variable light conditions. If you go to a range, most of the time what you're going to notice is it's very well lit. But in your real life, outside of that range, half of every day occurs at night. And if you've never shot at night, what you're going to find is that target acquisition and lining up your sights on that target are very difficult. You should practice shooting from a seated position. You should practice drawing from a seated position, from a kneeling position, from a prone position. Now, before you do this at a range, of course, make sure that the range allows for those things. But you need to realize and think about, when it comes to your approach to training, that outside of a range, you are not going to find a place that is bounded by two white lines with a target directly in front of you. It could be moving, weather conditions, lighting conditions, the clothing that you're going to be wearing. And think about that when it comes to your approach to training. Training in those environments, training in those gear configurations, that clothing configuration, all of that is going to help you get towards where you need to be. So define your end state and then train specifically for that.